3, 2, 1, now. Coming from a nation that was able as a small nation to fight off the fourth biggest military at the time, I'm very proud to propose today. Four things that we bring to you. Firstly, the characterization of occupation and motivation of the people that exist under that territory. Secondly, why fighting this is better and leads to better consequences, especially when you have a leader who is on your side. And thirdly, why do you get more international support? What do we think that generally occupations look like? We think that firstly, when that occupying force enters your country, probably there will be a lot of violence at that moment. At least as the start of in the beginning, there will be killings and things such as that. Secondly, we believe that you as a occupying force have to keep this in check, meaning having those people to support you or at least be quiet, right? So what can you do? I think that people will firstly be very angry about the fact that you occupy their country for the reason because they still believe in their independence, believe that their country should be their own. Generally, the idea of some kind of nationalism is something that is very deep in people. So just they won't just surrender to you and say, well, it's okay. Secondly, because they already witnessed a lot of violence in the beginning of the occupation, they're angry because of this fact. They won't just give up their country. They won't give up that already somebody's sons and daughters die in this thing and so on. Therefore, they are very angry and they're not likely to just shut up, even if their leader says differently, they don't trust him anymore and still have the reasons to go and do something by themselves. So what does the occupying force then do? It cracks down in a most terrible way. It can be things such as not giving you access to like your basic rights, no access to water, no access to such things. Secondly, we think that it can go into scaring people, killing them even more, for ethnic cleansing and things such as that. And the more you crack down on people in this way, because because of that anger and spite they feel because of the fact how you are violent to them, they will probably cause even more and more problems to you. So their idea that people will just stand still while things are happening is just not true, and the crackdown will get worse and worse because people will get worse and worse because they see this crackdown and as something unjust. Now, what do people do? We believe that people, to a certain extent, militarily rebel in both sides of the house, right? But what do we get when we have a leader in front of this? We think we get a much more organized thing. Why? Because firstly, somebody who is the leader of your country probably is also the leader of the military, has connection to generals, has connections to military. Meaning if you have some military, they will be more likely on your side and not give up. He has also access to arms. This is the person who probably has certain amount of charisma because he was chosen by you. He's your leader. You are going to follow this person into fighting. Thirdly, we think that it's also important that he represents you compared to other countries. If he just gives up to occupation, if you might have an ally on the other side, you will lose them. For example, if in Vietnam they just say, oh, we are okay with US occupation, they will use all the arms and support they got from the Russian military. And this is something that leader does when he doesn't fight on this side. So what do we think that actually happens? We don't think that this is like a large scale war necessarily if we are talking about smaller countries. We think that this is guerrilla war, some acts of terrorism and so on. We believe that because of the fact that this is your territory, you have a huge comparative advantage. Again, look at Vietnam. Although US is militarily much more powerful, the fact that they know the jungle and the territory they're living enable them to win there. Secondly, you get more and more support of the locals if you fight, because you portray these people who fight for your freedom, and this inspires even more support, especially when you have a charismatic leader on your front. For example, when Franjo Tudjman in Croatia called people to come to the war, tens of thousands of people enter voluntarily into military to follow them. So what are the consequences of this fight? Firstly, as we show you certain examples, we do believe that there are, as Vietnam, as Croatia, examples where there were really complete and actions of dealing with this problem of occupying completely. Secondly, even if you don't win, the ability of you to make certain harm to the other side enables you to actually ask for more concessions when you enter some kind of negotiation, because of the fact that you killed people from the other side, because of the fact that you destroy certain economic points that they have, destroy their equipment, etc. It means that these people have a reason to do so. But before that, I'll take closing personally.
Do people care more about economic well-being and like living their lives and not being at war or at any form of like oppression, or do they care about nationalism?
I think that people generally really care about their freedom. I think that many of, like all of the examples that you give show that people were willing to put their lives because of their independence. So I think that you're not right here. So what concessions can you look for, and so on? We believe that because the other country has more of responsibility of actually justifying this war, because their people are killed on somebody else's territory where you are fighting for a freedom, they have more reason to actually make this short and actually make some kind of concession in order to make a deal. This looks like, for example, in the cases of ETA or the IRA, getting places in parliament through Sinn Féin or their political wings and other things that help you in the future to gain more rights. Now, on the outside support, we also think that if what leader does is mostly not speak out about this and also try to not show what is actually happening in this country and cracking down on other people who try to show what actually is happening in their country. So meaning on the international stage, people even don't know how huge your problem is, meaning they A, will not intervene, B, won't support your cause. For all these reasons, I beg you to propose.
Excellent. I'd like to thank the member of government for their speech and invite the member of opposition to take the floor.